Hey everyone, welcome back to Gaming in the Keats. I'm your host Chris, and I'm bringing you part 2 of a Dread Elves versus Saurian Ancients matchup. We had a nice club day a couple weeks ago where a lot of our clubmates came out, and because some of our other friends didn't get to play each other in quite a while, Mike and I decided to play another match together. So this is the part 2 of the Saurian Ancients versus the Dread Elves matchup. And let's see. And this battle took place after Hotfix 2. So some key things to point out here for my list is that the Altar's Fury buff to my units do not affect the Thunder Pack. So makes total sense of why they changed that. That was just so good on a unit like that. But the interesting thing is that also means I get to play a bit more wide with the Thunder Pack anyway, which is like pretty nice. So it gives me a little more flexibility in deployment. Another thing is now Spears are AP3 against Swift Stride in this battle, so that is a thing that you'll see come up later. But yeah, let's get into the lists. All right, so I am riding that Thunder Train. Except this time I'm only using one unit of Thunder Pack. I really wanted to use my Dread Knights. I haven't used Dread Knights in so long. And now with the chains to them being Resilience 4 is just so good compared to the previous version. They're back to Resilience 4, which just like, I'm happy. Knights are in an interesting spot, I think. I think they put out like a unit of 10 knights puts out roughly the same amount of attacks as a Thunder Pack unit. However, because they dropped the 2 attacks back down to 1 attack on the actual riders on top. But the Thunder Pack still just have like a high volume of attacks that have hatred at strength 6 AP1 to AP2 if they're charging. So this time I took knights with great weapons to see if I like that, because it was just cheaper. But I took an Eye of the Gorgon because I thought it was cool. I don't think this is the best banner for them right now, but I liked the Eye of the Gorgon. I also like the idea of giving the knight unit horror. So that means you're giving minimized minimized flee distances from the knights, so that's pretty cool. But anyway, I have a Beastmaster Manticore Extraordinary Specimen because she's awesome. Supernatural Dexterity, so she's offense defense 11, and yes, you can do that. The only things that are capped, I think, at 10 for stats are courage and agility. So yes, she can be offense defense 11. This is pretty funny. And it's just super cheap. So I'm like, yeah, cool. I'll take it. And a 5-up Aegis save. Next, I'm trying out a Raptor BSB model. Again, I painted this model a very long time ago and wanted to give her a go. Aether Icon, great weapon with Crippling Frost and Moither's Mirror. So the Moither's Mirror is the one where if you attack the model, it gets 3 strength 4 grind attacks against the bearer's or against the attacking model's unit, I think. Anyway, it gets grind attacks, which is cool. And then we get Crippling Frost, so that lowers the defense by 2, so that actually helps those raptors hit things better anyway, which is nice. 32 Spears with a Sheltering Standard. I love that item because it's so good on a big unit like this. I think that's honestly, it's just like you're just going to see the Sheltering Standard, I think, in a lot of different lists that have core units that have big health pools and light armor. So yeah, there you go. And that is what that is. We have auxiliaries, standard and musician, Shadow Riders for, getting in the way of things and dying. The knights, the Thunder Pack, the 25 Temple Militants, again, with a flaming standard to just like cut through some fortitude, and 9 Dread Acolytes with a standard of discipline so they can occupy a little more independently on the flanks and have a musician, because and the Divine Altar of Nob. So, yay. Fury for 6-inch, for the keyword elf, 6 inches, and then for temple units, 12 inches. So, yay. My opponent's bringing today, this time an Alpha Carnosaur with the Starfall Lodestone, so that means he's immune to flaming, which is cool, and I think he's hard target 1, so I think it's because he wants to put like a fortitude save on him. I think that's what that item does. Correct me if I'm wrong, everyone, so just put it in the comics. Also, when you comment, it helps promote the video, so yay. We got an Archmage with Healing Waters, Nature's Venom, Stone Skin, Earth's Blessing. Yeah, Earth's Blessing is the spell that I have to stop, because none of my units have Strider, and that's the one where I think you get to create a terrain piece, and it can be either a forest, a field, or I'm missing one. I think it could be ruins. It's all considered DT1, so that could actually mess me up pretty bad if he puts it on my spear unit and then I lose all my rank bonuses. I think I still maintain steadfast, but I lose the rank bonus, which is the whole point of having that big bus of spears and the altar in them anyway. So he's got 8 Cayman warriors, Awaken the Beast on them, Flaming Standard, 20 Tegu warriors just to put his fat frog in there, 12 Skink Hunters with Poison Javelins, 6 Cayman Elders with the Kuro Stone, so they're the BSB, 10 Raptor Riders, which is fun. Also, Saurian Ancient Raptors are like Agility 4 base. What? Mine are still only Agility 3. I guess they're just cooler than the Dread Elf Raptors. We got 6 Ramphidon Riders. Because they're awesome. I think they're a fun little glass hammer unit. Hatred and Fury and Lethal Strike just all in this one unit. And then my opponent has 3 Pterodon Riders with Magnetic Shortbows, Predator's Instinct, and Swarm of Insects. So, yeah, that unit's going to be really annoying to deal with because, again, my list really doesn't have that much range damage to begin with, which is one of the weaknesses of my lists. So, we'll see how I deal with it. Okay, so pregame settings. We have 2 water features. We got some ruins. We got a forest. We got a hill, and we got a field. We're doing bottleneck deployment. We're on the Mountainous Crags map, and we're doing hold the center, so 9 inches away. Scoring units calculated after turn 3. You get a little token for it, so that's awesome. Then my secondary is capture the flag, so I need to have more flags on the field than my opponent. And for my opponent, they have to work as one. I forgot what this one does. Apologies, everyone. But yes, they might have something to do with, oh gosh. I can't remember that one, honestly. So, we'll see if my opponent is able to get it by the end of the game. Also, please comment on it, on what that one is. That's a fun one. So, I know Saurian Ancients have to deal with that one. Okay, so on the macro side of things, because we both have combat-oriented lists, but my opponent has the magic to support it, it's just going to be more difficult to, I think, to engage. And because my opponent has, I guess technically more units that can get in the way as chaff, it's going to be more difficult for me to pick my matchups, so I just have to be very cognizant of when I'm charging and trying to get my combo charges off. And then my goal really is just to keep the knights and the spears in the center, kind of really zoning that center, and having them like occupy a lot of that space, and then using my faster units on the flank, like the Manticore, the Thunderpack, and the Acolytes, to kind of overload one side and just have the dancers like try and, I guess, be on the other side. Um, so the spells that I mean, in terms of micro things, um, I know I need to be focusing on stopping that terrain spell, because taking away my rank bonus and doing all these DTs, especially for the knights. Lesson learned: bring a stalker standard on knights, no matter how cool the Eye of the Gorgon is. I think just the knights need the stalker standard, and it's cheaper. Um, so stopping that spell is kind of my primary focus point. I do need to keep note that the Carnosaur does have multi-wounds too against the Thunderpack, the Manticore, and the Altar, so in terms of deploying, I need to keep them away from the Carnosaur, although, well, the spears will be in the center, but, like, if he gets stuck on spears, then hopefully I can countercharge. And then I think it will be tough to protect probably my weaker flank with the Dancers, just because my opponent has a lot of fast flying units. And only really the Manticore and the Acolytes can kind of chase those units around, and I don't. And if I'm doing that, then my opponent is already like winning. I'm just expending more points than those flying units are worth. All right, so my opponent got to go first. I won the roll to pick sides, and yep, as you can see, they've already moved up. They vanguarded, and you can even see that the pterodons had already dropped their rocks on my Shadow Riders, who did pass their panic check. So good for them. This is immediately a mistake I could have avoided just by measuring a bit more precisely on making sure that my opponent couldn't do that turn one and keeping the Shadow Riders there. So, yep, already my opponent is punishing me for a mistake. Let's get the good old pointer out. So we got, on my side, I had one unit of Shadow Rider, or one model left. We got Dancers, we got the Knights. The BSB is right here on this side. This is a slight mistake I have. I know I did this because I was anticipating at least a possible panic check on the Shadow Riders anyway. But the BSB should actually be on this side to give commanding presence to the spears. Because that's the sort of his like officer academy rule thing. He gives that out. So that's kind of neat. Manticore, then we got Thunderpack on this side. We got some auxiliaries on the far side. And then we got Acolytes over here. They were zoning the Ramphidon riders, so my opponent vanguarded them and moved them off into the middle now to stay away from the Acolytes. So on my opponent's side, you have some Raptor Knights, you have the Cayman Elders in the center looking juicy, you have the 20 warriors with the fat frog on a chair, you have the Skink Hunters, you have the big Carnosaur, and then you have the Cayman Elders coming down, or not Cayman Elders, excuse me, the Cayman Warriors, the regular ones. And then you have the Pterodons off to the side. In my opponent's magic phase, whatever he did, I stopped the putting up a forest spell right here. So other than that, nothing else happened, and shooting did not take out that Shadow Rider because of the fence. So yay, good job, Shadow Rider, you survived. Alright, on my turn one, I'm continuing to make more mistakes here. I'm like actually trying to back up with the Dancers to keep these Pterodon Riders in my front arc, because at the time I was like, I don't really want them to flank me and stick me there for a turn while he can push up with the Cayman Warriors. But in hindsight, I should have just said F it and just given it to him, because these guys aren't the combat ones. Even though I would get restricted attacks, and that's kind of annoying, I still have a lot of combat res anyway, and I think he'd just be throwing away the unit if he charged into the flank of the Dancers. So I really just should have pushed up. I could have used the hill to my advantage as well, to make sure there's no actual charge from the Cayman Warriors. So this is just a poor play on my part here. Here I'm just saying, well, if you want to go after the Shadow Rider, he's hiding behind the hill. It's going to cost you your pterodons. So I'm kind of baiting my opponent there, and everything else just kind of moves up a little bit. Spears push up, keeping everything in the front. The knights, again, knights are chilling. They're trying to. Oh, they're staying outside of charge range of the Alpha Carnosaur. Which, to be honest, again, I shouldn't be that worried about it because the knights go first anyway. And like I think I can chop that guy up pretty good. So and I'd have advantaged position with the raptors on him, which is kind of neat as well because I'd be steadfast with the 2 ranks at height 2. So and my great weapon knights already have +1 to wound anyway, and I'm hitting the dinosaur. I think on it's either possibly it very well could be 2s because he might only be offense defense 3, and then I reduce him by 2. At least the big great weapon knights might. I'm not sure about that, but regardless, I shouldn't have been afraid of him. With the knights at least. So anyway, that's how you see it here. Spear's just looking sassy. Manticore, again, I'm not pushing. I'm pushing right outside the charge range of like these knights, for example. Thunderpack are staying back. I think my opponent got off a spell in the Thunderpack as well. Oh yeah, like some sort of dangerous terrain spell, or he reduced their movement. That's what it was. So Thunderback couldn't really do much there. Auxiliaries kind of shuffle, and the Temple Acolytes just say, yep, we're coming right up the flank because you gave us a lot of space. So that's what they do to get ready for anything that my opponent does with the Knights. Magic and shooting, of course, I don't have a magic phase, and shooting I was out of range. So no, that's not true. I shot off 1 knight. Yay. So that activates Scent of Blood. So that being said, into my opponent's turn, he drops rocks on the dancers, and then he's facing out this way to try and shoot off the last Shadow Rider. He tips his little toe up on the hill, so the Cayman, I'm giving him all this space. I'm just like kicking myself when I'm looking at this. So he can see and he's ready to charge if I come forward. Same with the Alpha Carnosaur, and then everything else just kind of shuffles. So far, he only has 1 scoring unit, I think, within 9 inches of the center. He turns to face the Acolytes, and then he turns to face the Manticore as well, so both are in the front. And then these guys come over here to support the Knights. In the magic phase, I saved all my dice to stop the terrain spell, and my opponent forces it through even with my dice advantage. And so he puts a nice little forest token right here, so everything within 3 inches of this token will suffer DTs and like counts as being within a forest if I do anything. So yeah, that's annoying. Oh, but wait, friends. In shooting, he fails to kill the Shadow Rider, so the Shadow Rider lives 1 more time. Nice. So, a couple turns too early, definitely not too early. A couple turns too late. I say, screw it. I'm going to now actually push these dancers forward and chaff with the Shadow Rider. I think I had to do it this way because if I tried to do it the other way, he could still see the Shadow Rider and terror check it off with an 8 versus like this way I'm at least within my general's leadership bubble. And so if he terror checks me, now I have a BSB reroll and I'm within 12 inches of my general, so it's a 10 rerollable. So I really need that guy to just stick there. But yeah, you can see the little force token here. The knights come to just say hello. They're trying to support the spears in case the Carnosaur comes in. And then you'll notice, hey, look, my Manticore has charged the Cayman Elders. So I did this out of order. I made a mistake again. So I charged the Manticore into the Knights first, which is wrong. I should have charged the Acolytes into the Knights first. That way, if he fled, I could have used the Manticore for something else. But instead, I did it that way, and I decided to redirect into Cayman Elders because I was thinking, like, hey, like, I'm offense, defense 11. I'll be fine. And also, I did double check it. The Connoisseur cannot actually see the Manticore. In the center position like this. The Manticore, the model itself should be a little bit more forward, and I double checked, so I don't actually have he does not have a counter charge on the Manticore from this position. And then from here, I pushed the Thunder Pack up, pushed the auxiliaries up to support, and if only they had volley fire. And then I redirect with the Acolytes into his super nuts frenzy birds. And I'm thinking I'll do pretty well there. Yep, shooting doesn't do anything, so let's go into combat. So, yeah. The Acolytes do their job, and they lose 3 in return, but I kill enough and I run them down, so that's good. Oh yeah, you'll probably notice I had 10, even though it was a unit of 9. I correct this mistake actually before I got into combat, so there was, when we got there, it was actually only 9 Acolytes being into combat, so it looks, yeah, and I lost 3 models. So, and then, yeah, the freaking Manticore. Oh, you did so, you tried so hard and got so far, but you definitely just got eaten by great weapons. My opponent rolled really well to hit. Like, he rolled, I think, 7 hits. He got 6 wounds through. And with my 5-up Aegis save, I didn't make a single one. So there goes the Beastmaster. That was definitely a mistake on my part. Oops. Alright, so now it's time for my opponent to capitalize on my errors. And so he charges the Carnosaur right into the spears. He's looking to take out that altar. He chaffs with his Pterodons and does another sweeping attack and is killing more dancers, which is really annoying. He charged the chaff to get rid of it. And then, so now here he charged the Thunder Pack, and now without Dying Blow, the Thunder Pack are not going to do well in this matchup here. So I fled, and then he redirected. He chose to redirect into the auxiliaries, and they fled. And so he fails forward, as you see. Let's see, magic. He gets off. I think he gets off a buff. Yep, he gets off a buff. I think on these Cayman warriors, and then I stop a regen, or I stop the fortitude on this guy. So I didn't want him having a fortitude save. So we'll see how that goes. And as you probably expect, the Connoisseur did eat the altar. He just ate the altar. I failed. I was failing to make my 5-up Aegis saves today. So the Connoisseur ate the altar, but then he like whiffs on the Thunderstomp. And spears hold. They're steadfast. Yay, good job, spears. And they also sneak in, I think, 2 wounds. Yeah, they sneak in 2 wounds. So they're holding on. All right, so here's what I do. The Knights don't charge because I'd have to take DTs, which is very annoying. I didn't feel like doing that, but what I did see was a slight opportunity. I don't know if it's a great idea, but I charged the dancers into the birds and hoping to overrun. I need an 8 to get into the Cayman warriors, and let's see how that goes. And then in other news, I just have to chaff the yeah, I have to chaff the the Cayman Elders with the Acolytes. Oh, you can see here shooting killed 2 other Acolytes as well from the poison javelins. So that was a bummer. But yes, I'm trying to hold on here. The auxiliaries do rally at the end of my shooting phase. but the the Thunderpack don't. So they're like almost off the board. Let's see if they come back. All right, and well, I put a couple more wounds actually on the Carnosaur. I think I did two more wounds to him, two or three more actually. It's very possible. Like the spears are doing great against this Carnosaur because of that AP3 against Swift Stride, which is awesome. And he kind of whiffed. He actually whiffed pretty hard on this turn for his like Thunder Stomp and like rolling to hit and everything. Um, and the dancers unfortunately do not make it into the Caimans. I rolled a 7. So, ew, that's not going to be good for them. I mean, we'll see if they. I mean, they're a good unit for sure, but only 12 left. That's still 18 attacks, depending on what weapon I give them. But still, that's not enough wounds to get through, I think. We'll see how they do. Okay, and my opponent's turn 4. By the way, you'll notice I do have a little treasure box token. So there was my turn 3. I actually had more scoring units near the center objective than my opponent. My opponent made a mistake and accidentally left the Saurus warriors outside of 9 inches while I had the knights and the spears in. So I do get one little, nice little treasure box token here for that. But you can see here my opponent charges the Chaffalites. He also charges the dancers because duh. Um, and oh yes, and then in the magic phase, I failed to stop this. he puts a water to he puts he puts a water token. So there's a forest token under the knights, and there's a water token right here now from that terrain spell, which is super annoying because now I'm trying to stop the fortitude on this guy because I want to kill him. But now that means we've got like two pieces of terrain that are like causing me DTs, which is just so annoying. Um, but yeah, that's that. There you have it. Oh, of course. And in other news, his knights rallied. Yes, I forgot to mention yes, they did rally, and now they're coming around, um, holding up the rear. Okay, so now it's my opponent's turn to lose his big dinosaur. Um, so the spears actually kill him. Yeah, it's just like they continued to have advantaged position the whole time. So it was like double. Well, yeah, it was the +1 to wound. It wasn't double. In the first round, it was because of Dread Elves. But then, yeah, still wounding on 5s. Like the spears were doing great. They were hitting. They were rolling to wound. Opponent couldn't make armor saves with the -3 to it. So they killed him. Good job, Spears. Appreciate you. And in other news, the Cayman Warriors, my dancers kind of flub a bit. They only kill, like, they only did like 6 wounds total, so that wasn't good. Um, oh, I think my opponent did get he got up some buff here. Um, and so that's what it was. It was the one where it was like I could only wound them on 4s, I think. Um, I could not wound them any better than 4s. So even though I tried to do great weapons for the AP, it didn't matter. I didn't roll well to wound. So and then here come the Cayman Warriors into my knights. But as you can see, oh, here's something to note. I didn't move the spears at all. Um, so now they are free to charge. And charge they do. I charge the flank of the Cayman Warrior, so I'm actually pretty confident about this one. Um, and I'm hoping to at least break the unit, depending on what happens. Again, and now the auxiliaries come up into the flank. I do want to get them close to the center anyway, just so I can potentially outscore my opponent. But I'm just going to shoot into these Cayman Warriors and maybe do something. And then in other news, my Thunderpack do rally this turn, which is nice. I appreciate them. Good job, Thunderpack. And breaking, no. There was no breaking involved. Um, yeah, the spears and the knights just kill the warriors outright before they even got to swing. Like that was nuts. The knights just went bonkers, and we're just like, psh, dances of Yema, y'all, y'all ain't got nothing on us. And so the knights just killed them, along with the spears. Like that was ridiculous. I think, and then I reformed the spears this way, so they're actually facing outward. Um, yeah, so they're actually facing outward. I think either that or you know what? I probably chose to break. I probably broke and then um yes, I probably broke them and then overran this way. I think. I can't remember what I did. This looks a little funny. But the spears are here. Um and remember if they did break, they would have had the minimized roll. So yeah, so either way, the spears are here, and I'm prepared to flee with them 100%. And as you can see, flee I do. The Cayman Elders charge, and then my opponent decided to not redirect into the Knights because he saw what happened to the other Cayman Warriors, and he's like, nope. So now he's going to try and crowd the objective here. He did want to stay outside of so he actually no. This is top of the turn, right? Turn 5. So I'm still up on the objective. His Saurian warriors, and his Cayman Elders are in, and my knights, and then on my turn, of course, I'll move my auxiliaries in as well to make sure we're tied. So he's trying to stay outside of charge range of my knights from his knights because he doesn't want that to happen. But yeah, spears also take a little bit of DTs, of course, from going through like what the forest that was here somewhere. So, yep. And then as you can see this little white token, guess what that token is? It's a field that also causes dangerous terrains. I hate this spell so much. It's so great. So yeah, my opponent in the magic phase got another field up. So there you have it. Okay, so in my turn, I choose to not charge. I just don't want to take any of these DTs. And I say, like, look, you can charge me now because I know how good these knights are at the moment. So I just shuffle them over. So I'm still in the forest and I'm still now in the field. But so now the auxiliaries and like I said, the auxiliaries and the knights are contesting his objective, but I'm still zoning his knights, so he doesn't want to actually come near me. The spears do rally, and the Thunderpack are coming up finally to get back in the game and say hello, and maybe threaten a flank here. So, yep, that's basically all my turn. Everything's going by pretty quickly now. And on my opponent's turn, yeah, he chooses to not charge me because he doesn't want to deal with that. I think he does get another terrain feature up, but I stop probably the fortitude on the elders. So my opponent does bring over the javelins and shoots it to the repeater auxiliaries and kills a couple. But I'm starting to see an opportunity here that could be very juicy indeed. All right, and so I take a chance, and I charge. So I charge the auxiliaries first into the skinks, and my opponent chooses to flee. My opponent also noted he probably made a mistake here and could have done it in a way to chaff the auxiliaries from doing this, because what this does do is open up the Thunder Pack to do a nice little boop here and hit the Cayman Elders in the flank too. And yes, I do go for it. I charge the Knights and I take DTs. You bet I do. And I lose, looks like 4 Knights. So that hurt. Probably could have lost more, to be honest. Maybe I got off a little lucky there. And so now I also bring the spears up. I march them up. They also take DTs, but they're fine. They didn't take enough to cause a panic. You can see all the forest token, the field token, and the water token. Oh yeah, it's forest, field, and water. Yep. So spears march up, and now I have 3 scoring units again within 9 inches of the center. My opponent currently has 3, so all I need to do is just survive, and I win the primary because I won it early on in the game. And then also, if I can get this Cayman Elder unit, then I'll actually get my secondary too. So that will be 1, 2, 3 flags compared to my opponent's 1, 2. So I'm going big here. And yeah, let's go over to combat. And woof! Oh my goodness. Yes, the Cayman Elders exploded. The Knights, like all of that combined, really it was the Knights and the Thunder Pack, even though I only had for 7 attacks coming in from the Thunder Pack, aside from the Lashmaster, like the 2 attacks but the BSB and the Knights and the Thunder Pack alongside the auxiliaries just they put the hurt. And the Raptors, of course, too. The Raptors helped out. And again, that -2 resilience from that great weapon, or sorry, not resilience, excuse me, -2 defense on the Cayman Elders helped the Raptors just hit better, which was fantastic. And that's really what kind of finished them off, to be honest. So yeah, there you have it, folks. That's the end of the game. So, wow, what a turnaround that was. That went a little unexpected, but hey, I'll take it. There you have it. Good game to Mike. That was a fun game. And let's calculate the points. So it ends up being a Dread Elf victory here. And it started as a 12-8, but I got the +3 for winning the primary, so 15-5. And I got my secondary, and my opponent did not. So it is officially a 16-4. So again, great game to Mike. I think both of us were making some little micro mistakes that actually made some big, kind of some key differences in the match, for sure. So in terms of the casualties I lost the Beastmaster, Shadow Riders, Dancers, Altar, and Acolytes. For a total of 1840 points to my opponent, and then my opponent lost the Alpha Carnosaur, the Cayman Warriors, the half points for Skinks because they were fleeing, Cayman Elders, that big unit of Elders, the Ramphidons, and the Pterodons. And the Pterodons are actually surprisingly expensive for just those 3 models because they're a Wizard Conclave. So that gave me a total of 2585 points. But yeah. I'm happy with that result for sure. So post-game thoughts. I think, my macro, I think I could have just been more aggressive overall. I don't think I need to be, with the Knights at least, for example, I don't think I need to be as afraid of the Carnosaur as I originally was. But overall, I'm happy with how I played the primary, just keeping the Knights and the Spears in the center as long as possible and forcing my opponent to commit resources to deal with them. And so I think my opponent was really afraid of those Knights, like, charging him. On the micro side of things, like, I was actually failing to stop that terrain spell. Like, that was killing me. Oh my god. And then I did that wrong order of charges, which threw away the Manticore, so that was needless. I'm happy about how I played the center, like the Dread Knights and the Spears. But I honestly should have ignored the Pterodons with the Dancers. Like, that didn't really serve me any way, shape, or form, and probably end up costing me the Dancers in the long run because they were taking all of that damage from the Pterodons without me being aggressive and putting pressure on my opponent. So yeah. And then of course, I mean, I don't have it marked on here, but the Shadow Rider turn 1, like, just making sure you pre-measure there's so much distance to cover, right? Because you have a vanguard, and then they move, I think, 16. Okay, so that's what, 28 inches. So just making sure I'm outside of, like, roughly, like, probably staying like 30 inches away from those pterodons would have been the most ideal choice. So yeah. All right. Well, there you have it. Thanks again, everyone, for making it this far and watching. Like and subscribe because you're amazing. And I really do. I appreciate y'all for just giving me feedback as well, and interacting with me on this channel, because it's more fun that way. But anyway, so part 2 of the Saurian Ancients is over, and on to the next one. Ciao, ciao for now, y'all.